Crypto scams have real impacts on hardworking Americans. In my state of New Jersey, a retired police officer lost $15,000 of his savings in a long and complex crypto mining scam. According to the Washington Post, blockchain records reveal that the scammer conned over 5,000 people for over $66 million. And that's just one scam operation. The FTC estimates $750 million were lost to scammers in all of last year. Victims have tried to contact law enforcement, but many have yet to receive the help they need. There's a real concern that these scams are not being adequately investigated, leaving the victims with no recourse. So, Ms. Lubin, if someone falls victim to a crypto scam, who should they contact to seek justice?
Thank you for that question, Senator. It is really important, and sometimes it takes investors a little while to figure out whom they should call to get some help. We strongly recommend that you start with your state securities division. We are the local cops on the beat. As we like to say, if you're mugged, you're not going to call the FBI, you're going to call your local police department. So if somebody has a securities issue or an investment issue, they should call their local securities divisions, and they can find us by checking on the NASA website. We do work with our federal counterparts. We have jurisdiction over, and all the states work this way, we have jurisdiction over securities whether they're sold from our state or they're sold into our state. So we have very broad jurisdiction, and we frequently have to work with our federal counterparts because things might be national and things might be international.
Mm-hmm. What is it about cryptocurrency that is causing difficulties in prosecuting crypto scams?
Another very good question. I think what's difficult is, first of all, it's a new area. So people need to, and people are gathering their expertise and understanding what's going on. It also takes a little bit of time for the investor complaints to catch up with, to actually be reported to the appropriate regulators and the appropriate prosecutors. So there's this ability, and we see this in cases all the time, for investors to be lulled into believing the money's going to come, and they are worried to file a complaint because that might interfere with their ability to collect. So you will see some of the cases trailing behind when the fraud happened because the promoters and the scam artists convince the investors that they shouldn't go to regulators.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is an area that because it's happening, police officer is not the typical person in terms, his antenna would normally be up. He's someone who's trained, and yet he fell victim to it, and that's just a reality of so many. Let me ask you both. For years now, I've been calling out social media giants such as Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp for their failure to curb the spread of misinformation on their apps. And study after study, for example, in the Spanish-speaking community, 66% of Spanish-speaking respondents receive wrong or harmful information about the COVID vaccine. But that's true about so many other things. How does the spread of misinformation on social media magnify the problem of crypto scams?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. Social media is a powerful medium that has wide reach, and there are a lot of individuals who are using it to promote either their own brands or products. So it is widely used and widely accepted and very available to the American public. And we do see, I know that state securities regulators have listed as one of their top scams, the rise of social media as a mechanism for fraud. And while much of this fraud is happening outside of broker-dealer spaces, so that it's beyond FINRA's regulation, FINRA's jurisdiction, FINRA is monitoring social media for crypto and other scams, and we recently launched a Finfluencer sweep to try to better analyze how broker-dealers, to the extent that they're using social media to acquire customers, what is happening in that space. So this is an area that we take very, very seriously.
I see it in my Instagram account all the time. I just say to myself how easy it is if you don't know, which brings me to my final question of the time I have. Digital assets are relatively new, and unfortunately, scammers can take advantage of the novelty to mislead investors. It's clear that the technical knowledge required to really understand crypto can be a challenge for an average investor. Ms. Walsh, do you think that the lack of education on digital assets is a contributing factor in their rising use and scams?
Senator, I agree 100% with you that we need more education on digital assets so that people understand how they work. They know what disclosures to look for, and in the absence of those disclosures, to exercise caution. It's very important that people understand how a particular investment works, how they could lose money in that investment, what they pay for that investment, and what recourse they have. Because since most of the digital asset transactions are happening outside of the broker-dealer space, protections that come from FINRA's regulatory regime don't apply. And that's the concern for all regulators, is that when this is happening outside of the space of regulation, the recourse for investors can be difficult.
Yeah. According to the FTC, reported losses in 2021 due to crypto scams were nearly 60 times what they were in 2018. So it just speaks volumes. I understand that Senator Loomis is next.